I didn't do too much today. It is May 21st. It was mostly rainy. It was about 40 today, so I didn't do too much. I just stayed inside and read. The only things I did do were build a second trellis bed. I haven't installed the trellis yet. But I also spread some ladybugs, but I totally forgot to film that. It didn't even occur to me, so I'm hoping there's still going to be like a little pile of them out here. Oh, it looks like a bunch of them have already left. You can see them hiding in there, but there were like thousands of them probably in a little pile. Some of them don't even have their spots yet. So lately, Baboo has been doing this thing where she doesn't want to stay over here. She wants to run over to my mother's camper. So let's see if she does it now on camera. She always runs over to my mother's camper and she'll pretend like she has to go potty. And she'll like scratch on the door and stuff to go out. But she won't go potty. She'll just go to walk to see my mom. Here to visit. Grandma has arrived with some more deer fence. She's gonna start the fire. We weren't able to start the fire. So
do the snoot challenge.
It never did. Never before this year. I've never had smoke in my eyes in my entire life.
Yeah, it took me at Wendy's. I just updated my blog with an old post, which takes about 45 seconds. It took me an hour.
So I'm getting ready to nail together the 4 corn beds, and I did stupid math. I did some stupid math as usual. So with these ones, I added an extra inch on each of these sideboards so that this section right here wasn't getting rid of that extra inch, that last inch. And so I was making all of these ones an extra inch long, but then I realized as I was cutting the last board that they are 2 inches wide, so I should have added 2 extra inches to each board. Actually, 4 extra inches. There are little white flowers blooming. I thought they were strawberry flowers, but they're not. They're something else. So this is the cheat sheet I've been using for my square foot gardening. It just says how many of each thing you can plant in a square foot, roughly. Potatoes are 2. I'm assuming that's for regular sized potatoes though, so I might actually do 3 of the mini potatoes. Does it have sweet potatoes? Sweet potatoes is 1. I suppose they take up more space. We'll have to try and bury these potatoes all the way, because I need to get straw. I'm gonna bury them in straw. I just haven't found anyone selling it. I need to go through the seedling tray in there to see what has sprouted and what hasn't, because anything that has sprouted will be going into the bigger pots immediately. And these are my apple trees. I have 3. Potentially there is also a orange tree. I really won't know until all the leaves grow in. This might be an orange tree. It has slightly different leaves than this one. Or maybe this is an orange tree. So until this 3rd one grows in, I won't know what that one is.
She's marking the foot square area with yarn, like she did in these ones. And this is going to be carrots and potatoes.
Yeah, carrots, potatoes, and beets. And onions.
Carrots, potatoes,
Possibly.
beets, and onions.
I haven't decided. I planted something in both of these squares and I've already forgotten what it was because I didn't mark it. Oh, it's more corn. Okay. Because I did it when it was raining, so I didn't mark it then. The sun is out temporarily. I forgot to say the date. It is May 23rd. I'm almost done sectioning off the bed. And I guess once I've done that, I'll have to go find out where I put the seeds, because I have no memory of where I actually put them. In the salad garden, we already have some things growing. Those are arugula, but there's also some little teeny butter crunch sprouts. This pine cone squished my sprouts. We have a few squash sprouting. We have 3 Brazilian moringa squash. I only need 2, so the third one is actually going to go to the community garden. Over here we have 2 spaghetti squashes, and again I'm pretty sure I only have space for 1, so the second might go to the community garden unless I find space for it, because I do like spaghetti squash. And then this morning I saw one that was just barely sprouting right there. It's a Japanese black, what is it? Kabocha? Black futsu. Japanese black futsu. The kabochas haven't sprouted yet. Which I hope they do, because I'm very excited about those ones. The okra's not doing great. 2 of them should live, but one of them has lost all of its leaves. So, don't have my hopes up for that one, but we'll leave it there and see what happens. One of our eggplants broke in half, don't know how. Possibly we ran over it with the cart, and I didn't notice. So something else is going to go there, something else will go there, and something else will go in that Brussels sprout spot. I was just bending over to staple that, and I found my Brussels sprout seeds. They were just laying right there. Don't know why. Maybe they blew away in the wind. I must have set them down somewhere. So we will get 3 more Brussels sprouts. Don't know if they'll survive because everything likes to eat Brussels sprouts, but it'll be an experiment to see if I can get them to survive. The biggest pain by far in all of this is that since I do each bed by bed, and I don't know what I'm going to plant in it until I've made them, I have to mix the vitamins into each bed individually, and it takes forever. It's such a pain. So, right now so the second half of the bed is all potatoes. So right now I'm just trying to decide how many of each kind I want to plant. We have a whole bag of like these russets. They're small looking, but they will get bigger. And then sweet potatoes, fingerling potatoes, and then these yellow potatoes. Don't know what they even are. Yukon, okay. And so I'll probably do, I haven't decided. That's what I have to think about right now. I'll do at least maybe a row of sweet potatoes. Or maybe half a row. So what I've settled on is 1 row of purple and black potatoes, because those are my favorites. Some are fingerlings, some are just like little potatoes. This row is half Yukon Gold, half russet, and then that row is just 6 sweet potatoes, which I will bury in a minute. My hair is very tangled today. I didn't wash it as well as usual last time I washed it because it was cold. I'm getting ready to go to the second garden to build the last 2 corn beds. I've finished putting plastic on the bottom of all the beds that have been made already. I've just finished sawing about 8 boards to make enough wood for 3 more 3-foot beds. One's gonna go there, one will go actually right there but be facing that way, and one will go there and then face this way. And those are gonna be for the big squash, like the huge squashes that aren't gonna fit on trellises and we'll just collapse them because those are just gonna spread out. And then there was space between those trees, so that's why I decided to do a 3rd one, because in my plan I only had the one there and the one there. The sun's risen just in time for it to set again. My laptop, I actually didn't even talk about this. So, my old graphic design computer, which was probably about 10 years old, broke recently. So I bought a Chromebook to write on. It won't work for graphic design, but it will work for my writing. We weren't expecting it until next week, but it came a week early, so I'm glad about that. So we're gonna bring this over. I'm out of, oops, it's caught on everything. This deer netting is literally my least favorite material. We've run out of the little bitty zip ties that we've been using to connect it. So I'm gonna have to go look in the shed, which I should have done when we were over there, to try and connect it with. That side is almost done. We just have, this side's almost done. We just have that little bit there to fill. Half of that is done. Actually, no. Most of that's done, so we only have the little middle bit. Like this much is not done. And this one ends here, so we need to do that. And then we need to do this whole side. Baboo is coming back to my camper with me. She doesn't walk back with me anymore because she spends the entire time waiting for my mother to join us, so she'll stop right at the road and just stare at her camper. So what I am getting ready to do is okay, so these are all my beans and corn that's going in the second garden, and I'm going to be soaking them overnight before I plant them, so that they have an easier time sprouting, because otherwise if I don't, they're just going to spend their first 2 weeks or so absorbing water from the soil instead of actually growing, and they might even potentially mold. It is May 24th. The sun's been out all day, which is nice because that's what I've been wanting. My mom and my grandma put up this deer fence over the door because we hadn't been able to figure out how to get it there. Since this gate opens and closes, we didn't want to tangle up the deer fence. So they figured out a solution to that, so now we have this cute little overhang. Right here, this big plank of wood is going to be a bench. I'm going to carve it up in a minute. First, though, I am actually going to go through the woods and I will show you. So that tree right there is a Juneberry, and that whole branch there is dead. That branch there is partially dead, but on the ones that are partially dead like that, it means that the tree is supporting pretty much useless branches and taking away nutrients from the good branches that could be growing berries. So I'm going to cut off most of the dead branches and we're going to burn them. Alrighty, so the first tree has been pruned, and this is what I took off of it. Baboo's shivering even though it's about 67 degrees out because the sun went away.
It was over 70 earlier.
This is what I mean. I think it's all in her head. The minute the sun goes away, she starts shivering.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I am making a bench. I had this big piece of wood and I wasn't sure what to do with it, and then my grandma said we needed a bench. So I decided to make a bench, but I don't want it to be square, so I'm going to try and cut out the edges so that they're wavy, and then I'm going to paint marigolds on it. The tomato bed's the only one that really seems to have weeds in it. I'm expecting they'll be long enough to pull when we get back from town, because we're going to visit my sister for a few days. I've returned to sawing this bench. I took a little bit of a break, and since I don't have a jigsaw or anything like that, what I'm doing is cutting notches at the curves I want, and I'm meeting them, like I'm cutting this way and I'm meeting that notch to pull this out, and then I use the saw from there to cut that slight curve out. I've also got this white piece of wood that I got from my cousin Jared, and it's a floorboard sample. See, number 16, pearl white. And I kind of like it. I don't really want to just turn it into a bed. So what I might do is make it the arms of this, or maybe just the legs. Or maybe it'll sit on the front as like kind of a lip. But I do want the edges to be curved, so I'd have to have a straight edge if I were to do that. So when my Uncle Scott was clearing out an old tree stump, we found this mushroom, and what it is a morel, which is a bit of a delicacy up here. We actually didn't know they grew up here, let alone that it was the season for them. we asked my Aunt Wendy to confirm, because she's the herbalist in the family, and she did confirm that that's what it is. And what she told me to do is to cut the bottom off, because the mycelium grows from the bottom, and mushrooms are basically a giant hive mind type plant. They all grow from the same plant. They can be miles and miles wide. So she told me to plant this bottom half in dirt. It's a dirt mushroom, a soil mushroom, not a wood mushroom, so it grows in soil. So what I am going to do is plant it underneath my camper so that it's out of the way and doesn't get stepped on, but also so that it has like moderate like humidity and darkness. Alrighty, so I've used the hoe to dig this little hole here. It's halfway under the camper, halfway out, so wherever they decide they want to grow, it can do that. I'm just going to break the bottom half of this off, and we will save the top to eat. It's time for Boo Boo's final potty walk of the evening. We had to leave her here while we had dinner at my aunt's house, so she's sad because she didn't get to spend time with my mother, because my mother went to bed, and now she's going back to my camper where she sleeps. Let's go to walk. No, wrong way. Little Boo. Come here. Come here. This is not where you're supposed to be. We cannot go see Mom. I forgot to put the tomatoes hot caps on, so I'm gonna have to go out in the rain to go do that. Because pretty much every night this week it's gonna be below 50, and they don't like below 50. They're pretty much the only plants that have hot caps. Goodbye, Baboo. Are you leaving? She's running back to my mom. She hears my mother outside, and I'm not taking her out because I'm getting dressed. You look so sad. It's like puppy eyes. I've never seen those before. I'll let you out in 20 seconds. Let me get my coat on. Alrighty, we are leaving the homestead a day early because it's rainy, and I've finished all the tasks I pretty much can. But it's supposed to be pretty warm during the next few days, so I'm actually taking the hot caps off of all the tomatoes, because the heat is more likely to kill them than the cold. So they may get a little bit of frostbite overnight. Not really frostbite, just chill. But that won't kill them as much as the heat would, because the heat would just cook them. This one's wilting. My uncle found more morels. With these ones, I'm actually going to leave the roots intact so that they can spread themselves. So I'll just take the little cap, and so he'll hopefully get more of those. I'm just keeping an eye out for any others that I missed, because I actually walked by that one twice. So on my walk back, I actually found more right next to my grandma's camper too. I'm gonna leave this little one because it might get bigger. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how mushrooms work. I'll ask my grandma. Again, I'm just gonna peel the top off so that the bottom stays and grows more.